Now presenting CEO Rick McPherson for Birchtech.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for attending the demonstration this evening. My name is Rick McPherson. I'm the CEO of Birchtech. We're known as America's Clean Coal and Clean Water Company. I'll take you through a presentation of the company today, and there'll be time for questions after my presentation. Starting with forward-looking statements, of course, if you would read those at your own leisure. Moving on to an overview of Birchtech. On the clean air side, we've been an environmental tech company for these past 14 years, working with coal-fired power plants in order to be able to meet their mercury regulations for emissions. We've established patented SEA sorbent technologies that are used at over 80% of the U.S. coal market plants that rely on sorbent technologies to meet their regulations. And we've had $265 million so far in generated revenues from our business. On the water purification side, we are known as experts in granular activated carbon, a BCHT for water treatment, the best available control technology. And the near-term EPA regulations for forever chemicals, or PFAS compliance, is expected to be about $1.5 billion annually. And that is for potable water utilities over the next 5 years. Birchtech, we develop specialized activated carbons, and these technologies remove both mercury from air emissions and harmful toxins from the water that we drink. We offer customized solutions for cleaner air and water, not just commodities. So the problem with utilities across the U.S. is to remove harmful contaminants from both water and air effectively and affordably. Mercury emission from coal-fired plants for drinking water and water purification for drinking needs to be the best possible technologies. And the solution that we've found best, the ones that we've been developing, are specialized activated carbons that will go beyond what's available today. So the result that we'll be bringing to market on the water side in particular later this year in 2025 will be new activated carbon technologies that have higher efficacy than what's available to the market today. We have an established legacy business in air purification using our patented SEA technologies, which has proven to be more effective, lower cost, and uses less product than the competitive advantages. Our go-to-market strategy as we move forward in 2025 is to grow our base legacy business in the air market, and we're doing that in a number of different ways. Firstly, by protecting our patented process, we've been able to secure significant licensing revenues both in 23 and 24, and we look to beyond as well. We had a run rate in 2026 that we're expecting of about $40 million using the patent enforcement that we now have underway. And I must say, folks, in 2016, we had a very great year, $33 million in revenue. But then we experienced a great deal of infringement on our patented process, which led us to file suit in 2019 against a number of large entities, power plants, and others. And that all came to fruition about a year ago with significant awards with regards to licenses, pretrial settlements, and significant judgments in our favor in a federal court trial that was held in late 2023. These things have changed the scope of our business dramatically on the air side, increased our revenues dramatically, and led us to a position today where we're projecting significant growth on the air side going forward from 25 and beyond. These are just a few of the companies that we do business with at this time, and they're all very significant, solid customers of ours with typically 3 to 5 year contracts with solid margins for that business. So what we did a couple of years ago was back up as this litigation was underway and use our skill set along with hiring other new individuals to the firm that were very strong in specialized carbonaceous materials for water purification. So the problem that the country faces now is how to deal with these forever chemicals. We set out a couple of years ago to design new technologies to be able to capture these forever chemicals in an affordable fashion. And we've been able to do that by developing a couple of significant labs, one in North Dakota, one in Pennsylvania, and establishing the protocols that were necessary to create these new materials. We'll be introducing these new materials in the second half of 2025 and doing comparative testing with municipal water supply utilities across the country, beginning again in the second half of 2025. And these new technologies will not only meet the stringent requirements of the forever chemical regulations, but also will help us to provide solid technologies for today's water market as it stands with today's regulations. So our go-to-market strategy basically is to use these labs that I've talked about to launch these new technologies we've developed and commercialize them starting in the second half of 2025. We have robust gross margin projections for these materials, and we're starting with a feedstock base that we announced about a year ago that will allow us to produce and sell into market about $7 million worth of product in 2025 as we start into the market. We have a very robust infrastructure as a company, having been in business successfully for these past 14 years. We have an operation in Grand Forks, as I mentioned, the design center of these new technologies in Pennsylvania, and we also have a plant in Texarkana and a plant in Corsicana. And between all of those facilities, we operate our present legacy air business and are launching our new water business. On the financial summary, as you can see, we've had continuous growth over these past number of years. We've given guidance for at least $23 million this year in revenue, and from that, we expect $4 to $5 million to drop to the bottom line. And if you look at the light blue year in 23, you can see the license revenue that we've received through our patent enforcement efforts added. We've yet to show any value for 2024, but there's significant amount outstanding. We were awarded a $57 million award at federal court, which is not being shown. It is under review for final judgment, and our attorneys have, because of the willfulness of the infringement, asked the court for $160 million. This also goes a long way with regards to enforcing our patents for the present infringers that are out there. We presently have lawsuits against approximately 12 large power plant operators, and they combined have a very significant value add potential for the company. So the key takeaways, folks, is we have the right team. We've developed disruptive technologies. We have recognized IP, and we also have regulatory tailwinds as a company. We see this year as a very big growth year for us. We see the final award coming down from the final judgment trial to be a significant turning point for us. We have regulatory tailwinds that we think will drive the water purification market and our presence there. And we have large addressable markets across the country that we think that we can sell into quite favorably. A strong IP portfolio, of course, which has been vindicated and proven at trial. And our move into the water business in particular offers tremendous amounts of opportunity for us to utilize our specialized know-how in order to be able to create a new growing market for the company. Our contact information, should you like to get in touch with us, I'd be happy to fill out any questions that you might have And so for now, I will take questions, please. Yes?
Thank you. Are you paying your lawyers like a percent of the judgments, or are they just on staff? Like, I'm sure that's very expensive to put on that.
So the majority of our legal fees to date have been paid out of operations. They will get a percentage of the final judgment, but it is a small percentage. Yes, sir.
Going forward, how protected is that IP? Is it a patent that anyone else in the future that infringes upon would be subject to further lawsuits? Is it something that users tweak just a little bit? How solid is that IP going forward?
So interesting question. The reality is, at this point in time, the folks that could use the technology are using it. And the remaining, what I would call infringing parties that are using it are now being litigated by our law firm. And so going forward, the main incentive to maintain business with us is to avoid the potential damages of past use, as much as the actual patents themselves. But having said that, we do have a couple of dozen patents that are active and valid and will be such for years to come. And it's a situation where the market is matured, the adoption has taken place. And so our effort at this point is just to make sure that those that do benefit from it do it in a rightful fashion through the folks that patented the process many years ago. I'm sorry, yes. It was another question.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Are there companies that are honoring their licensing agreements?
Yes, yeah, we have dozens and dozens of boilers under contract, and as I showed in that previous slide, all of those people have licenses and operate. You know, what's interesting is some of the best clients that we have are folks that we initially had to litigate in order to get them to a point where they understood that the technologies that they were taking advantage of were actually owned by another firm. Yes, sir.
For the mercury emissions control that is provided for the coal-fired power plants, like if you look 5-10 years out, coal-powered power plants are like on the natural decline, right? So does that mean your addressable market will start decreasing as you move forward?
So, good question. Point is, the coal-fired power plants are not on decline right now. They're actually on a bit of an upswing. 16+% are now forming part of the base load of the country. With the EPA and the new administration's recent deregulation of some of the regulations that were proposed under President Biden, we are now seeing a bit of a resurgence in the coal-fired market. And it's expected there's a very good chance it could move back up into the 20+ percentile range where it was a few years ago. We've recognized and speak very positively to the steps that have been taken recently by the EPA in terms of maintaining the mercury regulations as they were, instead of adding a lot of extra regulations to them that were seen by many as being not necessary. Yes, sir.
You get a check for $55 million for this lawsuit this year, maybe. What do you do with that?
So we're quickly and solidly moving into the water purification business. I'm presently looking at this time at several different acquisitions of plants that we can convert into plants that will produce materials for the water treatment business. We would most likely use that money, since we are debt-free now, we paid all our debt, we would use that money to enhance our build-out into the water market. We feel very positive about that. We've secured significant commitments by utilities around the country to use our products once they're developed. So I think a very solid use of majority of that cash would be to continue to build the company and provide more profit through that investment. Yes, sir.
What kind of time
So we'll start selling into the market in the third quarter of this year. And I'm projecting that we have the capacity to do something around $7 million this year. And that revenue is not including in our guidance. We've given guidance for $23 million on the core business. But the water business should start produce revenue quickly. The acquisitions I'm looking at also produce very significant millions of revenue. So we could very quickly become a fairly broad-based company with significantly more revenues as I go through this process. And we're aiming at an uplisting on the New York in the September-October period. So these acquisitions and the expansion of the company should work favorably in regard to us broadening our presence. We're also in the present situation working with a couple of major banks for research and analyst coverage at the institutional level. So I think, as a whole, the company will be expanding nicely in 2025. And I think the news flow coming out of the company over the next 3-4 months in particular will be quite interesting.
Any impact of tariffs on?
Tariffs actually help us. Some of our competitors import product and remanufacture it into finished product. All of our product is manufactured in the USA.
How about the raw materials?
I'm sorry?
The raw materials?
Yes, all the raw materials are here in the US, yes. And we source them all here and manufacture and sell here at home. Yes, sir.
Have you looked at licensing technology?
Yes, actually, we are involved right now in discussions with an Asian firm in order, they're looking at licensing our new technologies for use in Asia. We will have them for the second or third time visiting us at our facilities in Philadelphia to look at the design profile. We've taken their base materials and have been working with them for some time with our new technologies to produce a version of it that we would then teach them under license to be able to use in Asia. Well, folks, thanks very much for attending. Very much enjoyed your questions. We are a company that specializes in air purification, that are rapidly moving into water purification, which we see as being 10 to 15-fold the opportunity on the air side, in spite of all of the gains that we look to see through the IP enforcement. So once again, thanks very much for joining me this evening.